I welcome anybody to try this. I hope you have a big budget. So the first article I wanted to talk about was when AI creates art, who owns it? Now, the joke of the whole thing, and there is a video that goes with it, the joke of the whole thing is that they took 15,000 pieces of art, basically portraits, and then they created one, and then they gave a detection. So the first thing was take elements of all these 15,000 portraits and put them together and make a portrait. And it was ugly, it didn't look like a portrait at all. It looked like a composite nothing. It looks like it was dumb. But I thought it was dumb. But anyway, I have had too much aesthetics. So what is art? Art is something someone will pay for and call it art, I suppose, these days. So anyway, then they had a detection software program that said this is this is computer-generated art or computer-generated image. And then they would run the program again, and they ran it until the detection software couldn't tell which was a real portrait and which was a computer-generated. And of course, it means that, it obviously didn't take into account brush strokes. It couldn't tell how it was painted or any of that sort of thing. It was just working with images. It was a kind of a lame idea, and they sold it for $500,000. So that just goes to show you that you can be creative with AI, and it has nothing to do with AI. It's just about manufacturing something. And this show, as I said in my title, was created in part with artificial intelligence. What do I mean? What I mean is that when I go over here and I search on artificial intelligence, let's just go with that. Artificial intelligence comes right up before artificial sweetener and artificial insemination, which I think is a pretty good spot for it. Anyway, and now I get answers. How cool is that? Have you ever seen anything like that? Okay, and I get lots of answers. And I wade through, what did it say? I get 57 million answers. And some are ranked higher than others. Okay, and since I hit news, some are dated earlier. So artificial intelligence will get you answers. Are these good answers? Are these good articles? This one was an awful article, I would say, and a lot of them were. Mostly I'm wading through dopey stuff by somebody who doesn't know much about computers or aesthetics. Okay, now this one was an interesting one. ZDNet, I always like ZDNet, said that there was an AI system dubbed Veripol, and what it does is it looks for clues essentially clues in a wide, apparently the crime they're after is false reporting of crime. And they even take your tweets into account or your text messages into account. And the problem is that a human being is busy and doesn't have the time to sort through a lot of garbage, but a computer can sit there and not worry about it, and then can catch the claim that is filed against the insurance providers. That's the kicker here. The kicker is false claims. That's a great application because, at least it can raise the flag. It's not going to send somebody straight to jail. It's just going to raise the flag. Great application of AI. I thought so. This is one of the best ones I've ever heard of, and I really like the idea. Okay? Now, here's another one that I thought was extremely poor. For one thing, it had this claim that the root cause of things like religious violence rests in how our minds process the information that our world presents. I would bet dollars to donuts that the researcher said, to use AI to study religion or culture, we have to look at modeling human psychology because the psychology is the foundation for religion and culture. You see the hubris in that? This is a person who's got their little clipboard. I have a clipboard. They got their clipboard over here, and they are watching the specimens in the zoo. And they're saying, oh, this is what religion is about. Religion is about psychosis. And we're going to study the causes of psychosis. Actually, in my case, religion is about the idea of communion and interaction and perhaps even friendship with a superhuman, beyond imagination, beyond comprehensible being that claims to have some affection for me. Okay? Is that, if you buy it, then what could be more cool than that, right? When I got involved with it, I said, if Richard Nixon, who I didn't agree with in a lot of ways, invited me to the White House to have dinner, I'd go. And so if you've got a superhuman being, beyond superhuman. I mean, it's not even human is like the amoeba on the glass and the piece of spit on the drinking glass or your coffee cup compared to this being. And he says, I'm standing at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I'll come in and have dinner. I thought, hey, how could you pass that up? How could you be rational? Pass that up. But, if you think, oh, that's just a fairy tale, that's just wish fulfillment. Yeah, you hope that hell is nothing more than wish fulfillment. Anyway, so, I hated that article. 20 ways that AI is changing our lives. Okay, let's look at that one. And a lot of us, we were in there. Okay, so the last one was Freedom on the Road. That was good. We were in this one. Predicting our choices. Yeah, now this was an interesting one. Music services. I read a really interesting article about how they took a band that was up and coming, and they took their songs and they somehow rated them and graded them for memorability of the melody and the lyrics, etc. And they found 4 or 5 of the songs they'd written that were pretty good, and they found one that was just absolutely probably going to be a hit, that it would catch on. But the music promoter, and so everybody said, oh, let's go with that one. And the music promoter said, no, that's the wrong way to look at it. The way to look at it is these kids are new. They're not going to be able to handle massive success. Let's get them a good hit that gets them established as somebody that knows what they're doing. We'll get them another good hit. We'll get them like 4 in a row, good successes. Then we'll go with the mega hit. And by then, they'll have gotten used to the crowds and the paparazzi and all the rest of it. We'll put the structures in place to keep them sane. And that'll make a lot of sense. Okay? And you see the wisdom in that? Okay? That's like, I was working on a list reco for a new mailer, essentially. They mailed before 20 years ago, but they're coming back into the mail. And I said, you want to get broad in the beginning. You don't want to say, oh, this is our main market. We know we can hit this. And then we're going to go deep, deep, deep into those. The problem is if your products are wrong or your promotion is wrong and it doesn't hit that spot, then it's going to be a disaster. So you try to get some breadth. Try to get a variety. Try to let the market tell you what's going on. And that's the flaw in AI. That's the flaw over and over in these articles, is that they don't grasp that. Back here, targeted advertising, self-driving cars. I read an article about a guy who took the Tesla coast to coast. And he said 95% of the time they could just sit in the car with no hands on the wheel down the freeway in Nebraska. Not a lot of the traffic. It was fine. It was great. You could read a book. That's great. The trouble is people are trying to drive these things in the middle of New York City where, even Waze can't get through there. You got to find the right application, and you got to get outside yourself. You got to take away that hubris and quit thinking, I know more than everybody who's ever tried this. You got to be a little humble. And that's the key to making artificial intelligence practical and finding some ways where it actually helps. I'm John Miglosh for the WDMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Have a great day.